On November 29, 2007, an anonymous poster on the online message board 4chan posted an image of a young woman named Emily Sanders with the message, "If anyone can correctly guess their own post number, I'll tell you where she's buried." Emily Sanders was an 18-year-old girl from El Dorado, Kansas, who went missing 5 days prior to when this post was made. People began to play along, and eventually someone managed to guess correctly. But to the surprise of many, however, the original poster actually delivered, sharing a set of coordinates just about 50 miles from El Dorado. That same day, police found Emily Sanders' body. Although it is unknown if they used this post as a lead, it is reported that the body was in fact dumped at the approximate location posted by the user, and based on the timestamp, it seems it was made over an hour before any news on the discovery reached the public. A 24-year-old man by the name of Israel Morales would later be identified due to the fact he was seen with Sanders on a security camera, but would ultimately flee to Mexico with his pregnant 16-year-old girlfriend. Given the fact that 4chan is inherently anonymous, it is unknown if Morales really was the original poster, and to the best of my knowledge, he has never commented on it. But the internet as a whole seems to believe he really was a killer, bragging about his crimes online. On December 19th, Morales was apprehended by police in Mexico, and he was charged with the slaying of Sanders. Due to the fact he was a Mexican citizen, the Mexican government refused to extradite him if he was in danger of facing the death penalty, so as a result, some charges against Morales were dropped in order to avoid the possibility of capital punishment. However, although this protected his life to an extent, he would be extradited on June 26, 2009, and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on March 31, 2010. On December 5, 2007, an anonymous poster shared an image with the now infamous caption, "What does B keep in the freezer?" Immediately, 4chan got to work, with the first comment suggesting it was child abuse material, and others following with equally outlandish guesses like a cat or urine. Finally, someone guesses it's a body, to which the original poster replies, "Well done," sharing a JPEG of what appears to be a human leg, severed just above the knee, stored inside the freezer. Likely not believing these photos to be genuine, the community continues to engage by asking OP to make more posts, requesting for them to, quote, "show us the middle part," and of course, insulting him with slurs. OP obliges and posts 2 more photos, one showing at least a full pair of feet in a black bag, and the same bag with his hand in front of it, with B512 written on it, B being the board it was posted on, and 512 of course being the 5th of December, in an attempt to prove the original poster was the one actually taking these photos. OP would not share any more photos, but one member of the community would add that they attempted to reverse search the images through Google and found nothing, suggesting the photos shared might be, quote, original content. The authenticity of this post and the original poster's identity have never been revealed, so it is impossible to tell if these photos are real, and if, like some of the other posts on this video, OP was a psychopath bragging about his latest kill, or just a troll. In 2008, on a thread dedicated to viewing open source webcams, someone would share a feed of a Korean woman who appeared to be dead based on the strange and unnatural position she was lying in. Although they would soon realize the woman was alive, it was only the start of the rabbit hole that would come to be known as Chip-chan. Chip-chan, or Jane as she would also be called, although I'm unsure if this is a Jane Doe reference, is what some believe to be a hikikomori from South Korea. Hikikomori, which is actually a Japanese term, is someone who seeks out extreme levels of isolation, often not having a job, not attending class, or not even leaving their home for months or years on end. Although some could use this term, or similar terms like NEET, derogatorily towards those without inhibition, there are some who generally fit the term, likely due to mental illness. We can easily guess which one Chip-chan is when she starts referring to someone only known as P. You see, Chip-chan doesn't sleep upwards of 20 hours a day or refuse to leave her home because she wants to. She does so because P forces her to. In Chip-chan's own words, P is a corrupt police officer who implanted a mind control device into her ankle, which has the ability to force her to sleep whenever they want. In order to combat this, Chip-chan has set up multiple cameras around her home, with signs begging viewers for help. Despite the fact the stream became popular around 2008 thanks to 4chan, some claim to have found evidence that she had started streaming, or at least blogged about P and the mind control she was under, as far back as 1996. Some have attempted to make contact or even contact local authorities, but have ultimately been unsuccessful in locating or identifying the woman. To the best of my knowledge, she no longer has a near constant camera feed going, but has created a YouTube channel called Mind Control Weapon and has uploaded over 5,000 videos and shorts in the past 4 years, meaning she is averaging uploads of around 3 a day, with the most recent being uploaded just 11 hours ago at the time I wrote this script. Most of the recent clips seem to be her walking the streets of Korea, filming police vehicles, with captions claiming the police are getting the crews in charge of collecting garbage to stalk her. To this day, the internet only really accepts 3 main possible reasons for Chip Chan's actions. The first being that she is a mentally ill person. The second being that this is an extremely elaborate art project. And the third being that Chip Chan's story about P is true. On November 4th, 2014, a user on 4chan shared an image of what was believed to be the dead body of a woman with the message, "Turns out it's way harder to strangle somebody to death than it looks on the movies." Naturally, the community is immediately skeptical and either accuses him of lying or simply makes fun of him for thinking it would be easy. He shares another photo adding, "She fought so damn hard." One user asks for proof the photos are real, but instead, the anonymous poster shares one last photo saying, "Check the news for Port Orchard, Washington in a few hours. Her son will be home from school soon. He'll find her, then call the cops. I just wanted to share the pics before they find me. I bought a that looks realistic enough. When they come, I'll pull it, and it will be by cop. I understand the doubts. Just check the news. I have to lose my phone now." That was the last message from the original poster, but others continue the thread, claiming the photos to be low-quality bait. That was, until the Kitsap County news site Kitsap Sun in Washington reported on a suspected homicide involving a woman who was found by her 13-year-old son. The following day, a man by the name of David Kallick would be taken into custody in Wilsonville, Oregon, not far from Portland, in connection to the murder. Kallick was the boyfriend of the woman whose untimely demise was shared with everyone on 4chan, later revealed to be Amber Lynn Coplin. Despite the claims on 4chan, it would be reported in a tweet by the Wilsonville Police Department that Kallick was detained without incident and was cooperating. He would also admit to being the original poster of the thread on 4chan. According to police, when asked about his motive, he said, "I had no reason other than that I was drunk and she pissed me off." He would be convicted of first-degree murder, but due to the fact he shared the images and left the body for her son to find, his sentence was essentially doubled by aggravators to 82 years. Given the fact that he is about 40 years old right now, he will likely never be released. Bianca Devins was a 17-year-old girl who frequented 4chan under the name Oxy, and over the course of many years, grew a devoted following of orbiters, usually older men whom Bianca's friend Erica Rose claims worships younger girls, sometimes even sending them gifts, money, or drugs in exchange for nudes, or sometimes even just attention. Creepy, obsessive, and in many cases, downright illegal. Rose would also state that such attention is both an ego boost and in its own way, a form of self-harm. Bianca did face a troubling childhood, making multiple attempts to run away to be with older men, and had spent at least one stint in a facility to assist her mental health. Her online presence began to become a concern for those around her, as it would seem she was losing the ability to interact with others in the real world, as she was instead more interested in messaging online. Then, Bianca would meet Brandon Clark in the spring of 2019. He was a 21-year-old man who lived only about an hour from Bianca, and according to some of his former friends, had a history of attempting to contact young girls. Despite this, however, Bianca's mother eventually met Clark, and her impression of him was a guy who seemed charming and polite, so much so that she allowed Bianca to go with him to a concert that evening in Queens, New York. It is unknown if she knew just how old Clark was at the time. However, in the early hours of the next morning, when he should have been dropping her off, Clark would murder Bianca after allegedly seeing her kiss another guy. The police have stated that Clark and Bianca had what they described as a very deep relationship, but others claim otherwise. saying that he was outwardly creepy and Bianca had to allegedly look up his name the day before meeting him because she had forgotten it. At 6:03 a.m., a message was posted by Clark on Bianca's Discord server saying, "Sorry, you're gonna have to find someone else to orbit," along with the photo of the body of Bianca, visible signs of a wound across her neck. Then, the photos began to circulate on Instagram, Facebook, and 4chan. Around 7:30 a.m., police received a call from Clark explaining where he was and that he was going to take his own life. When they arrived, they found Clark lying next to a green tarp with Bianca's body under it, and while live streaming on Instagram, he attempted to cut his own throat. He also spray painted "May you never forget me" on the ground, and was in the process of burning his computer. Clark would end up surviving this attempt on his life, however, and when questioned by police, seemed more interested in what the news was saying. After pleading guilty, he would be sentenced to 25 years to life in July of 2019. The image of Bianca's body would go viral online, and her family and friends would struggle with doing everything they could to get the photo taken off the platform. But many people who knew her say they are still haunted by the images. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to like the video to help the algorithm, and subscribe to see more content like it. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out this one, where I talk about 5 YouTubers who committed horrible crimes. I'll see you next time.